In the early 20th century, Europe was a powder keg of ambition, rivalry, and pride. The continent's great powers, Britain, France, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia, and the Ottoman Empire, vied for influence through imperial expansion and a relentless arms race. Germany, under Kaiser Wilhelm II, sought to assert itself on the world stage with an expanding navy to rival Britain's. France, still nursing the wound of losing Alsace-Lorraine in 1871, looked for a chance to reclaim its honor. Russia, the self-appointed protector of Slavic nations, sought to project power in the Balkans. Austria-Hungary, a fragile empire of many ethnicities, was desperate to suppress growing nationalist unrest. Alliances were forged in secret, triple entente and triple alliance, creating a delicate balance. Yet behind the diplomacy, the machinery of war was being prepared. Europe stood tall in its grandeur, yet beneath the surface, tension brewed like an oncoming storm. June 28, 1914, Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary and his wife, Duchess Sophie, entered a city fraught with political unrest. Bosnia had been recently annexed by Austria-Hungary, igniting anger among Serbian nationalists. Among them was Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Bosnian Serb and member of the Black Hand, a secret society determined to end Austro-Hungarian rule. A failed grenade attack that morning left members of the motorcade injured, but fate intervened. Later that day, the Archduke's car took a wrong turn, stopping in front of a cafe where Princip happened to be standing. He seized the moment. 2 gunshots ended the lives of Franz Ferdinand and Sophie. The act of a teenager echoed across continents, setting off a chain reaction that would plunge the world into war. Austria-Hungary, emboldened by Germany's unconditional support, a blank check, delivered an ultimatum to Serbia on July 23, 1914. The demands were intentionally severe. Serbia accepted most conditions but balked at others, particularly those threatening its sovereignty. On July 28, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Within days, the entire continent began to unravel. Alliances activated, threats turned into action. Europe could not pull back. The descent into World War followed a chilling sequence of events. July 30, 1914, Russia, in defense of Serbia and seeking to maintain influence in the Balkans, began mobilizing its forces. August 1, 1914, Germany, viewing Russian mobilization as a threat, declared war on Russia. August 3, 1914, Germany declared war on France, seeking a quick victory through the execution of the Schlieffen Plan, which involved invading Belgium. August 4, 1914, Britain declared war on Germany in response to the violation of Belgian neutrality, a treaty Britain was bound to uphold. August 5, 1914, Belgium, though neutral, resisted the German invasion and officially joined the war. Montenegro also declared war on Austria-Hungary to support Serbia. August 6, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia. August 12, 1914, France and Britain declared war on Austria-Hungary. August 23, 1914, Japan entered the war on the side of the Allies, aiming to expand its influence in the Pacific and honor its alliance with Britain. October 29, 1914, the Ottoman Empire entered the war on the side of the Central Powers by launching a surprise naval attack on Russian ports in the Black Sea. May 23, 1915, Italy, initially part of the Triple Alliance but persuaded by promises of territorial gains from the Allies, declared war on Austria-Hungary. To October 14, 1915, Bulgaria joined the Central Powers, hoping to regain territories lost in the Balkan Wars. April 6, 1917, the United States declared war on Germany. Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare, which targeted civilian vessels, and the intercepted Zimmermann telegram, which proposed a German-Mexican alliance against the U.S., pushed President Woodrow Wilson to act. Each nation was driven by distinct motives. Germany sought continental dominance and security. Austria-Hungary aimed to crush nationalism and hold its empire together. Russia acted as the protector of Slavic nations and pursued regional power. France yearned to recover lost territory and secure its borders. Britain was committed to preserving the European balance of power and protecting smaller nations. The Ottoman Empire hoped to regain its standing. Italy was enticed by promises of expansion. The United States entered with the ideal of safeguarding democracy. Every major leader, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, Emperor Franz Joseph I of Austria-Hungary, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, President Raymond Poincaré of France, British Prime Minister H.H. Asquith, and U.S. President Woodrow Wilson played their role in guiding their nations into one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. The war quickly sprawled beyond Europe. Colonies from Africa, Asia, and the Pacific were drawn in. Soldiers from India, Canada, Australia, and across the British and French empires fought in unfamiliar lands. On the Western Front, trench warfare turned battlefields into stagnant, muddy hellscapes. At the Marne, Somme, and Verdun, millions were sacrificed for mere yards of land. On the Eastern Front, Russia clashed with Germany and Austria-Hungary in a more mobile but equally brutal theater. New weapons redefined warfare. Machine guns, tanks, aircraft, submarines, and chemical weapons made mass death mechanized. Poison gas caused unspeakable agony. Submarines sank civilian ships. Aircraft conducted early bombing raids. The war saw the death of over 9 million soldiers and more than 7 million civilians. France lost over 1.3 million men, Germany nearly 2 million, Russia 1.7 million, Britain 900,000. Entire cities were reduced to rubble, economies collapsed, yet through it all, civilians held the line, and women entered factories, hospitals, and fields, redefining their roles in society. By 1918, the tide had turned. The Russian Empire had exited the war in 1917 after the Bolshevik Revolution, signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany and freeing up German troops for the Western Front. In the spring of 1918, Germany launched its final major offensive, the Ludendorff Offensive, hoping to win the war before American forces could tip the balance. Though initially successful, the offensive stalled due to logistical issues, stiff Allied resistance, and low morale among German troops. From July to November 1918, the Allies, bolstered by fresh American troops and supplies, launched a series of successful counteroffensives known as the 100 Days Offensive. Germany's allies began to fall. Bulgaria signed an armistice on September 29th. The Ottoman Empire capitulated on October 30th. Austria-Hungary, crumbling under internal dissent and national uprisings, agreed to an armistice on November 3rd. Finally, on November 11th, 1918 at 11 a.m., an armistice was signed between Germany and the Allies. The guns that had thundered for over 4 years fell silent. Europe stood still in disbelief. The Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, sought to impose peace, but instead sowed seeds of future conflict. Germany was forced to accept full responsibility for the war, relinquish territories, disarm, and pay massive reparations. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires dissolved, giving rise to new nations like Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and modern Turkey. Political revolutions erupted across Europe, monarchies crumbled, economic despair set in. The map of Europe was redrawn, but the scars ran deeper. Veterans returned to shattered homes and lost futures. A generation was traumatized. Ideologies like communism and fascism found fertile ground in the ruins. The League of Nations was formed to prevent future wars, but it lacked the power to enforce peace. World War I reshaped the globe. It altered borders, toppled monarchies, and birthed ideologies. It brought modern warfare into terrifying clarity. But more than that, it left behind a haunting question. How could a single gunshot in Sarajevo lead to a war so vast, so cruel, and so unforgettable? The answer lies not only in alliances and ambitions, but in the human condition itself. The pride, the fear, the hope, and the fire that still burns in the pages of history.